How far would you go to uncover the truth? Even if it meant destroying the world you knew? Before I begin, I want to ask you something. How deep would you dig for the truth, even if it meant everything you love might burn down around you? Hi there, friend. I'm glad you're here. If this is your first time tuning in, don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love hearing from people around the world. Now, let's begin. The phone buzzed faintly against the polished wood of the desk. Adrien looked up from his screen, eyes aching from hours of studying financial spreadsheets. His hand reached toward the phone automatically, not from interest, just muscle memory. One message, no name, no prior conversation, just a single line of text. Redwood Tavern, back corner booth. Come now if you want the truth. Adrien narrowed his eyes, puzzled. There were no pictures, no emojis, no suspicious links. Just stark, direct words. His first reaction? Probably a scam. Or a wrong number. But something about the message stopped him. It wasn't random. It felt intentional. Crafted. Come now if you want the truth. The line echoed in his mind like a haunting whisper. His chest tightened, instinct kicking him before logic could respond. He didn't have evidence, not yet, but he felt it. This had to be about her. About Elise. She'd told him earlier she was heading to her mother's house. Just for a bit, she'd said with that breezy smile she always used when brushing something off. Nothing had seemed off. Nothing suspicious. But his body was already moving before his thoughts could catch up. He grabbed his keys, heart hammering as he pulled out of the driveway. The streets blurred past, city lights stretching across the windshield like smudged neon paint. Redwood Tavern. The place held years of memories. Birthdays, celebrations, romantic dinners. Now, it loomed ahead of him like a tombstone. He parked a short distance away and stared at the building. From the outside, it looked normal, peaceful, even, but he knew better. With a quiet resolve, Adrien slipped into a side door and kept to the shadows. He scanned the booths one by one until he spotted her. Elise. There she was, glowing in dim candlelight, leaning in toward a man he didn't know. The guy wore a sleek tailored suit, a luxury watch on his wrist. He radiated confidence, the effortless kind that comes with power. They were laughing, not awkward small talk, familiar, intimate laughter. Then Elise reached out and touched the man's hand. Adrien's chest turned to stone. That soft laugh, that gentle gaze, it used to be his. And then she kissed him. Not a casual peck. Not an accident. A kiss that said everything. Adrien didn't react. No burst of anger. No scene. Instead, he calmly lifted his phone and snapped a single photo. One image. That's all he needed. No confrontation. No outburst. He turned and walked away, each step heavier than the last. Outside, the cold air hit him like a slap. His breath caught in his throat. But just as he was about to open his car door, something told him to look back. Through the tavern window, the man was still holding Elise's hand, and he was staring directly at Adrien. His expression? Chilling, calculated, unapologetic. Then he leaned in and whispered something into Elise's ear. Her body froze. Her smile disappeared instantly. She looked around the room, eyes wide, searching. But Adrien was already gone. He'd seen enough, and in that moment it hit him. The message wasn't a warning. It was a setup, a trap. The man wanted Adrien to see them. Adrien drove home in silence. His face gave nothing away, but inside his mind was in a tailspin. When he stepped inside the house, nothing was out of place. Dinner waited on the table. Her favorite candle still flickered in the kitchen. But something deep within him had changed forever. He sat down, staring at the wedding photo on the mantel. Then his phone buzzed again. A message from Elise. Cold, clinical. I want a divorce. That was all the message said. No apology, no explanation, no emotion. Just a final sentence that cut through the years they had built together like a blade. And then a chilling note. From this point forward, speak only through our lawyers. Adrien stared at the screen. He didn't respond. He didn't weep. He didn't move. He just sat still, hollowed out, as the reality took hold. By sunrise, Adrien had already reached out to a top-tier divorce attorney, Miranda Chase, a sharp, focused professional with a reputation for being relentless. She listened quietly as Adrien laid it all out. Then, with cool efficiency, she said, "Give me everything." And he did. The photo, the anonymous message, every financial statement, all shared assets and account records. That same day, Adrien began locking the doors Elise had once walked through freely. He canceled her credit cards, froze joint accounts, changed passwords to everything. Not out of anger, but self-preservation. Elise had made her decision. Adrien was just carrying it through. Within 48 hours, her attorney responded. Damon Pierce, a smug, overly confident man who loved to hear himself talk, sent a formal demand letter. Adrien was to resume full financial support for Elise immediately. Miranda's reply was razor-sharp. She attached Elise's own cold message, the one where she severed all direct contact, then outlined the exact dates and reasons for each financial action Adrien had taken since. Elise's legal team tried to change the narrative. They spun stories of heartbreak and confusion. They painted Adrien as cruel, unfeeling, abandoning her in her time of need. Friends began to reach out, asking what had happened. Family members started whispering, speculating that Elise had simply made a mistake, that she was lost or conflicted. Adrien didn't correct them. He didn't justify himself. He let them believe what they wanted. Meanwhile, Miranda kept digging. What she uncovered was far uglier than Adrien expected. Elise had tried to siphon money from an old, rarely used joint savings account, one with enough funds to do real damage. She'd nearly succeeded, but Miranda caught the transfer just in time. This wasn't the behavior of a grieving spouse. This was calculated, premeditated betrayal. The divorce turned bitter. Elise's team cast her as the helpless victim, heartbroken, impoverished, abandoned. They argued that Adrien's emotional distance had driven her into someone else's arms. But Miranda dismantled their case piece by piece. She showed Elise's initial message, severing contact. She laid out her attempted theft. And she submitted the photo of her intimate moment with the other man. The judge saw through facade. Then came the next blow, the smear campaign. Suddenly, anonymous complaints began surfacing at Adrien's company. Accusations, rumors, vague allegations, enough to make business partners hesitate. Deals stalled. Suspicion brewed. But Adrien didn't panic. With Miranda's help, he initiated a full audit of his operations. Every process, every deal, every transaction. He cleared his name publicly, methodically, professionally. The rumors faded. But not before he understood who had been pulling the strings. Elise. She wasn't just trying to hurt him emotionally. She had gone after everything he had worked for. In the final courtroom hearing, Elise broke down. Tears, accusations, claims of abandonment. She painted herself as the broken wife, left to fend for herself. Miranda responded with devastating calm. She read aloud Elise's first divorce message, ice cold and final, then presented evidence of Elise's theft and infidelity. The judge was unmoved. The hardship Mrs. Whitmore is experiencing, he ruled, is a direct consequence of her own choices. Adrien retained complete ownership of the business he had founded before marriage. And Elise? The court penalized her for concealing assets, including a secret property purchase she had tried to hide. Her alimony was slashed to the legal minimum, barely enough to get by. Her image shattered. She left the courtroom alone and disgraced. It didn't take long for word to spread. Later, an old acquaintance, someone who had known them both socially, sat with Adrien over drinks and told him the rest. The man Elise had been kissing, his name was Marcus Weller, a notorious financial consultant with a trail of ruined relationships behind him. Marcus had sent a message to Adrien. On purpose, he had wanted Adrien to walk in on them, to catch Elise in the act, hoping it would push Adrien out of the way and leave Elise all to himself. But Marcus had made a fatal miscalculation. He didn't realize Adrien's company was untouchable, and he didn't expect Elise to walk away from the marriage with nothing. When Marcus saw how things ended, how Elise had fallen from grace, He cut ties and vanished. Elise was left with no money, no man, no dignity. Adrien didn't gloat. He didn't throw a party. He didn't even smile. He just turned the page. A man who once believed in happily ever afters had been remade. Quieter, wiser, unshakable. The scars would remain. But Adrien knew the truth now. He hadn't lost his life. He had only lost illusion. And sometimes that's the hardest truth of all.